All right, so those are the top headlines. Let's get started now. And setting the stage for a 2-month-long electoral battle, the Election Commission today announced the Lok Sabha dates. The polling kicks off, as we mentioned, on the 19th of April, and the phases, there are 7 phases, and finally results on the 4th of June.
Well, we also got to know some important numbers today, Gargi. A total of 96.8 crore voters will be eligible to vote in the 2024 Lok Sabha elections. This is what CEC Rajiv Kumar said today. He also said that the poll body is committed to countering the menace of muscle power, money, misinformation and violation of the Model Code of Conduct.
Right, and misinformation is going to be a big challenge this time around. Also, as we mentioned, 4 states, Arunachal Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, Odisha and Sikkim will be holding simultaneous elections as well. And the Prime Minister-led NDA government is hoping to clinch a rare third term, while the opposition, loosely stringed under the India bloc, is hoping to make a dent in that scorecard.
While the BJP is relying on Modi's guarantees of security, welfare and governance, the Congress has promised a comprehensive social, economic and caste census and also the right to health. Now, in a month from now, all these political parties will be put to test on the credibility of their promises. So, in line with the flavor of the election season that puts the voter first, today we'll get you voices from the ground on the kind of political accountability people on ground are seeking from the ruling party, but also their expectations from the opposition.
That's right. We'll be going across to all our reporters. We'll be getting you voices from the various reporters. In fact, let's start with Karnataka. And Karnataka is BJP's gateway to the south, and the party is focused on issues related to tech and the tech industry there.
But it's the Congress party that is in power in the state, and it's largely believed that the Congress party came to power in Karnataka on the back of guarantees that it promised. The BJP has been saying that in fulfilling the guarantees that includes free public transport for women, development of Bengaluru, or the IT capital of India, has taken a backseat. Now this comes even as Chief Minister Siddaramaiah in the budget has promised to build on the Bengaluru model of development.
That's right. And though Pratibha has recently been reporting more on the water crisis in Bengaluru, Pratibha, bring us voices from there on what matters to them in this upcoming election.
Well, in fact, the voting pattern when it comes to the assembly election as well as the general election definitely has a vast difference, right from the local issues that play an important role. But then water crisis seems to be one of those issues that kind of fit into both the types of elections as far as the IT city is concerned, because brand Bengaluru definitely matters on that front. I have with me 2 IT professionals, Jairam Govindaya as well as Shashidhar Sharma. Thank you so much for joining us. I start with Mr. Jairam. What really are the expectations in your minds when you cast your vote, especially with the general election in mind?
Thank you, Pratibha. As a sovereign citizen of India, when it comes to IT industry, I always expect a stable government in the central government. This gives us an amazing confidence in terms of our trade policies and also the kind of international partnership we undergo and also the kind of ecosystem we could create in Bangalore. Bangalore is a very vibrant city and it requires a lot of stabilization. As I said earlier, infrastructure is something which we need, and we need somebody like Mr. Nitin Gadkari, who has done a superlative work all India basis. Somebody should also replicate that in Bangalore. It gives us tremendous confidence for people like us. I manage a corporate real estate IT fraternity where we all feel, in fact, we had gone to Karnataka government asking them to give us a stretch to manage. The proposal is still pending. But this election is something which we are really looking for, a kind of an amazing stability which brings the entire IT fraternity into a kind of a ecosystem where we feel in terms of the technology transfer, in terms of the digital divide, in terms of bringing people, and also the other thing today, why don't India should create an hub for people coming into India instead of going to US or Europe. People should come to India, study their masters and get employed. India has all that.
How does brand Bengaluru really matter on that front? Because water crisis to traffic, like he pointed out, road infrastructure plays a key role here. How do these local issues also matter when it comes to casting your vote for the general election?
So, Pratibha, the fact is that any local issues, especially in Bangalore, will matter a lot. The reason being that 1/3 of the economy of the Karnataka happens in Bangalore. All these IT parks now suffering due to the water scarcity is definitely going to be one of the major reasons for the way the people and the voters are going to vote. And actually, we are living in a very interesting time in the sense that this year across the globe, we are having 60 countries going for vote. Now the corporates, including the AI, deepfakes and all, is going to matter a lot to the corporates as well as the election also. So concerning all this, I personally believe this election year and the voters will choose for the growth in terms of IT infrastructure and development. And that's where we are. And very interesting time now.
Also, when it comes to climate change, because both of you have really given talks on that front, will that also play a key focus area when it comes to the voting pattern as far as Brand Bengaluru is concerned?
Absolutely. If you look at the young people who are working in the IT industry or for that matter any industry, today when we get people on board, the first thing which we encounter is the kind of ESG and EHS policy the company has been participating, company is being able to bring into the employees. That makes a very, very important thing. Second point here is Pratibha, that any city for city like Bangalore requires a homogeneous mixture of EHS and ESG policies. Today, Bangalore is undergoing a terrible water crisis. We need to plan for this? So there is a couple of people in the state government and the corporates. As we are all coming together, we are trying to create a proposal and give it to government, saying that let's do this. And instead of working on a short-term plan, we have proposed to government, why don't we work on a long-term plan? And government is yet to respond to us. Whether government responds to us or not, our effort is on to create Bangalore as a city which brings in amazing partnership, amazing investment, wherein we need to look at small things like how to fix these infrastructure issues, how to fix the water issues, how to fix the issues which are not able to support the IT industry. So we are working on that. I'm sure this exercise is on. We would be able to find some kind of a solution by end of this year.
I mean, talking about the city of Bengaluru alone, do you think that the entire focus falls just on the capital city and it's unable to bear the burden? How do we kind of spread that into the tier two cities as well, as far as Karnataka is concerned, and how do we promote that?
So very interesting, Pratibha. The reason being now, after COVID, a lot of people have started working from home, and the remote working is not a taboo anymore. People have started working from home, and all the infrastructure is developed according to that. IT has been able to help and support that kind of a working, and having said that, most of the jobs can be done in the home on any other city. So we have Mysore there and many other places across away from the Bangalore. So as in terms of the infrastructure, Bangalore provides one third of the infrastructure across India happens here in Bangalore. That's the reason we are facing this kind of crisis. Now coming to that way people are going to work is working from home, and remote working is going to help a lot in the tier 3 tier 2 cities.
Well, that is as far as the IT professionals are concerned. Well, it is definitely going to be not just the local issues, but even the global issues. So, almost like a local voting pattern that we are going to see as far as the Karnataka's voting pattern is concerned, especially with
Right.
the IT backing as well, as far as this general election is concerned.
Right.
Back to you.
And
So-
clearly water playing, the water crisis playing on their minds ahead of the elections, at least in Bengaluru.
So Bengaluru citizens making it very clear that they want a balance between welfare and also development, but making it very clear that urban civic sense and responsibility seems to be, one of the core issues there. Moving on to another catchment area, the new voters or the first-time voters. India has over 1 crore first-time voters in the 18 to 19 age group. Now, the enrollment of those aged between 18 and 19 is up by almost 20% this year.
Right, a lot of first-time voters in this election, and it's significant when several issues are related to the youth, such as unemployment, educational opportunities are big concerns among voters. Now, the Prime Minister has been talking about Yuva Shakti. The Congress, on the other hand, has been flagging issues which are, again, very key to the young voters, exam paper leaks.
Let's go across to our colleague Tanishq, who joins us from Lucknow. Tanishq, Uttar Pradesh is, of course, seen as the gateway to Delhi. It's seen as the political epicenter of India's political scene. But that is where the exam leak protest was held, and Congress, in some ways, was a big part of it. What are youngsters and first-time voters, expecting, and what are they saying?
Well, of course, in this Lok Sabha elections, Vasudha and Gargi, this is in this Lok Sabha elections, key issues will revolve around the youth of our country. Definitely, if you look at the figures, 1.8 crore first-time voters. That makes around 2%, around 2% of all the voters this time. But of course, with me are young, bright faces of Uttar Pradesh, the young people who are going to vote for the very first time here. I'll just go straight because many of them, some of them are social workers as well. So of course, already working for the society after turning 18. I'll just go across to Sarah here. Sarah is with me here. Sarah, Lok Sabha elections are coming. What are the issues that young people are concerned about?
ओके सो मेरे हिसाब से जो फर्स्ट चीज़ हमें कंसिडर करनी चाहिए एज अ बीइंग अ फर्स्ट वोटर इज़ दैट क्लाइमेट चेंज बिकॉज छोटी मोटी चीज़ें तो होती रहती हैं, महंगाई बढ़ रही है, घट रही है, ये एक टाइम में सही हो जाता है, बट क्लाइमेट चेंज इज़ समथिंग जिसको ज़्यादा कंसिडर करना चाहिए एंड विद दैट दे शुड प्रायोरिटाइज कि लॉन्ग टर्म वेलबींग ऑफ द नेशन सोचा जाए आइदर देन शॉर्ट टर्म टेम्पररी गेन के.
सो यू सेइंग कि क्लाइमेट चेंज कहीं ना कहीं इम्पोर्टेंट होता है आप लोग को, लेकिन हम लोग कहीं ना कहीं देखते हैं वन इंटरेस्टिंग थिंग इज दैट नन ऑफ द पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज हैव एनीथिंग रिलेटेड टू क्लाइमेट चेंज इन देयर एजेंडा. लाइक देयर इज नॉट अ लॉट ऑफ फोकस ऑन दैट. बट ऑफ कोर्स कमिंग टू यू, आपका नाम?
परेश पांडे.
परेश, अभी एक पेपर लीक हुआ यहाँ पर, है ना? कई सारे लोगों ने प्रोटेस्ट किया. ऑफ कोर्स पेपर लीक के जो कल्प्रिट्स थे उनको भी लगभग पकड़ ही लिया है. आपका क्या इशू होता है वोट करने से पहले? क्या इशू होगा इस बार? क्या आपको कंसर्न है, आपके पर्सनल कंसर्न?
पर्सनल कंसर्न मेरे ये हैं कि मतलब हर चीज़ के बारे में इंसान सोच रहा है, ठीक है, प्लास्टिक के बारे में सोच रहा है, एनवायरनमेंट के बारे में सोच रहा है, लोगों के बारे में सोच रहा है, पर एज ए एनिमल एक्टिविस्ट मैंने ये चीज़ फील की है कि जानवर के बारे में लोग नहीं सोचते हैं इतना, ठीक है. तो कुछ ऐसे रूल्स निकाले जाए जानवरों के लिए, कुछ अलग तरीके से सोचा जाए, एक्ट ऐसे निकाले जाए जहाँ पे जानवर को अगर कोई मार देता है तो उसके खिलाफ थोड़ा एक्शन होने चाहिए. कोई मार के निकल जाए बस इतने में ख़त्म नहीं होना चाहिए. तो इसलिए मैं चाहता हूँ
अभी रिसेंटली सरकार ने जो है, गवर्नमेंट ने जो है, कई डेंजरस सो कॉल्ड डेंजरस डॉग ब्रीड्स को उनका इंपोर्ट बैन किया था. बट आई विल गो अक्रॉस टू आपका नाम?
आयुषी.
आयुषी, आपको क्या लगता है व्हाट आर द इश्यूज दैट कंसर्न यू?
एज ए एजुकेटर मुझे लगता है कि एजुकेशन सबसे बड़ा इशू है. जैसे गवर्नमेंट स्कूल है, उन पे कोई वर्क नहीं होता है, वो ऐसे टीचर भी नहीं है सर्टिफाइड, ना उनको कोई नॉलेज है. बेसिक जो लेटेस्ट सिलेबस आता है उनके रिगार्डिंग में कोई नॉलेज नहीं है. इसके उसमें होना चाहिए बिकॉज सम एरिया के जो स्टूडेंट हैं वो फीस देते हैं, उनके पेरेंट्स कितनी मेहनत करके फीस भी देते हैं, बट उनके बच्चों को एजुकेशन नहीं मिल पाता है. आई थिंक उस पर वर्क होना चाहिए.
यू फील एजुकेशन इज एन इम्पोर्टेंट पार्ट बिकॉज ऑफ कोर्स
स्कूल पे हाँ या.
योर नेम इज आसिफ.
Yes.
Asif, what are your issues if we talk about? What concerns you?
मतलब पहली चीज़ तो मैं ये कहना चाहूँगा, एज अ यूथ हम लोग रिलीजन और कास्ट के बेस पे वोट नहीं देंगे, हम लोग डेवलपमेंट के बेस पे वोट देंगे. और मैं गरीब बच्चों को पढ़ाता हूँ, तो एडुकेशन इज़ वेरी मच नेसेसरी. सो मेरा यही मुद्दा होगा इस बार वोट देने का कि जो सरकार एजुकेशन पे काम करेगी हम उसी को वोट देंगे.
जो सरकार एजुकेशन पे काम करेगी उसको वोट देंगे. सो ऑफ कोर्स these are the issues of young people. A lot of them are social workers as well, climate activists, talking about animal protection here. I've just one gentleman here. आपका नाम? आयुष. ये सारे तो इश्यूज हो गए जो ऑफ कोर्स हर किसी को कंसर्न करते हैं. सोशल जस्टिस की बात हो गई, या फिर क्लाइमेट चेंज या एजुकेशन. As a person, you must be around 19, 20. If I'm
20.
You're 20. So you must be pursuing your undergraduation somewhere. You will go for your higher graduation. But employment is a major issue. It's a major issue for the people here. So what do you think? What do you expect from political parties or the governments in terms of employment?
सर पर्सनली मुझे ये लगता है कि जो भी जॉब्स आती हैं, बट उनका पता है क्या होता है ना, जॉब्स देते तो हैं बट कुछ टाइम के बाद उनका कोई यूज़ नहीं रह जाता है. आई फील लाइक कि अगर आप जॉब्स निकाल लो तो उनको दीजिए भी. अभी रिसेंटली पेपर लीक हो गया, आप देख सकते हैं, मतलब कहीं ना कहीं सिस्टम में कोई प्रॉब्लम ही होगी तभी ये सब चीज़ें हो रही ना. तो मुझे लगता है कि सरकार को हमारे सिस्टम पे काम करनी चाहिए और उन्हें अपने सिस्टम में जितने भी लॉज और अमेंडमेंट्स हो ना उनको सही से लगाना चाहिए, तो तभी शायद कुछ हो सकता है.
So Vasudha and Gargi, young people of Uttar Pradesh, first time voters of Uttar Pradesh, these are their issues. And of course the youth are going to play a very important part when it comes to elections here, especially in Uttar Pradesh also, because of course, as I said, 1.8 crore young first-time voters making around 2% of the total voters this time. Yes.
So young people in Uttar Pradesh are not just worried about bread and butter issues, but they want a leader with a long-term vision. In fact, they're talking about the quality of employment and
That's
education,
right.
which I think is
and even
quite
a little
heartening.
concern about animal welfare. That was nice to see.
So, moving on to the last 10 years, the government's capital expenditures share in public expenditure has increased from 12.5% to 21.6%, and this has reflected in large-scale infra push in the sectors of railways and roads.
That's right. Let's focus now on Maharashtra, which will elect 48 members to the Lok Sabha in an election that's spread over 5 phases there. It will be held from 19th of April to 20th of May, and Mumbai residents voting on the 20th of May. Now, from Mumbai-Nagpur Expressway to Atal Setu, there's been a lot of infrastructure push in Mumbai and Maharashtra.
But will that influence voters? That's a question we are asking. It's over to Radhika, who's joined by some Mumbaikars.
You know, while there is a lot of, in fact, while there is no consensus on seat sharing in Maharashtra, a lot of meetings taking place, as far as Mumbaikars are concerned, a lot of expectations from the leaders and policy makers. In fact, there has been infrastructure push in the state of Maharashtra, as you've been pointing out, coastal road, Trans-Harbour Sea Link, metro line, several flyovers. And I'm joined by several residents from the city of Mumbai who will take us through what their thoughts on this infrastructure development is. Of course, there have been infrastructure transformation here, overhaul of sorts. What are your thoughts? Do you think it's a boon or a bane? And what's your expectation from the government?
Well, I think that the infrastructure changes that have come to Mumbai have definitely improved and eased transportation. But as far as equity is concerned, I must say is that it's only for the cars. Me as a cyclist, as well as I like to walk around the city, it is a bit of a problem, I would say, as of now. I must applaud the government for doing this right now because, yes, of course, our city requires good infrastructure because of the amount of population that we have got. Well, they can do a little better, I would say, as far as communication is concerned as well, because communication is required today with the chaos that we have got in Bandra, with all the roads being dug up, and well, getting into our homes is a bit of a problem right now.
Are you?
No, as far as that, so that is one. The infrastructure part of it, make it much more easier. Public transportation. I've been sitting on the Sea Link right now over here, and there's only just one bus that has gone. So improve on public transportation, and also water. Water is a big concern right now for Mumbai, and I want assurance from this government that we are not going to have a water crisis like Bangalore is facing right now. So that is something that
So no water crisis, that's Mario there. And we have Karan also from Bandra. Karan, what's your expectation from the government in terms of infrastructure? There have been developments, of course, but do you think, all these development works is encroaching into open spaces? Is it destroying the ecosystem, the green spaces in the city of Mumbai?
I feel that as important as it actually is to develop our infrastructure, I think it's also equally important to take in mind and acknowledge the fact that we need to preserve our open spaces, we need to preserve our mangroves and our forests that we do have, because they are the lungs that we have to breathe through as well. So I feel that's really important for us, and something I'd kind of expect out of the elections is for us to all come out and vote for one, and for us to have a government that supports communal harmony rather than hatred. So
So communal harmony is another expectation. Benita is also with us. Benita, what's your wish list from the government? Infrastructure push, of course, is one of the focus areas, but are you happy with it? What changes would you like to see?
I just wanted to say about healthcare services. They should provide affordable healthcare services for the people who cannot afford.
All right, so that's Benita. Let's also go across to Kedar. Kedar, in terms of infrastructure, there has been a lot of delays, and there is several criticize that there is no regulation, there is no proper vision. Even when you take places like Worli, Bandra, too many construction works being carried out on a daily basis, which is sort of inconveniencing commuters and residents. So what's your message to the future government? What kind of transformation would you like to see in a city like Mumbai?
Yeah, when we are taking care of the infrastructure needs, the development is definitely necessary. But at the same time, we have to take care of the environment. Also, there should be a balance between environment and development. Air quality index of Mumbai has been quite alarming in recent days, which was not so some time back. So much infrastructure development, redevelopments, and all the road activities going on, construction activity going on. So there has to be special attention towards the air quality. A lot of healthcare issues coming out of it. So definitely that should be a priority issue for the government.
All right, so air quality has to be improved. So there you heard from several Mumbaikars right here, while several are applauding the projects that have come up in the city of Mumbai, in the state of Maharashtra. Several feel, many of them feel that much needs to be done to improve the lives of common man here.
That's right, and especially that point about air pollution, because that's been a huge concern of late in Mumbai, the fact that the air quality has deteriorated so much.
And yes, Karki, I also feel that Mumbaikas are making it very clear that they want cities to be planned better. They want answers to why Mumbai gets flooded every year. And that is something that they brought out apart from the pollution thing that you pointed out. Moving on to another big catchment area, this is a section of voters that not just the Prime Minister, but also every opposition party has been talking about. One of the highlights of today's press conference by the Election Commission of India was the increased involvement of women voters in elections.
That's right. The Chief Election Commissioner Rajiv Kumar said that there's been an upward trend in the registration of women voters. And this I was surprised with, that at least 12 states have more female voters than male. So that's very interesting. Women also account for 85.3 lakh first-time voters.
Yes, and both BJP and opposition have made promises exclusively for women. But in Bengal, we've also had this massive controversy centered around Sandesh Khali. So has it impacted women? What are their demands? Let's go across to my colleague Saurabh Gupta, who's reporting from Kolkata.
Well, thank you. I have actually a set of women, urban voters, accomplished women who, of course, have a lot at stake, and they're all, people who've worked and are, a part of what India's growing economy and the increased participation of women in it means, and that also translates into increased participation of women in the, electoral process. So, Radhika, if I can come to you first, an election is always also a matter of expectation. So what are you expecting?
Hi, Namaskar. This is Radhika Dalmia, the FICCI Ladies Organization, Calcutta, the chairperson of FICCI Ladies Organization. I would like to say that India, being the largest populated country in the world, I would request the government to make such policies which would help it to become the biggest manufacturing unit as a supplier of the world. This will not only give the youths better job opportunities, but also make it the economy, the GDP economy much better. As half the population of the world, of our country is women, government should definitely make policies which would help women to get equal rights in workplace as well as education and job incentives, so that women in this world should get the empowerment to get different, to empower different spheres of the life. As the famous quote says, that the woman that rocks the cradle also rules the world. Thank you so much.
Well said, and I'm glad you brought up manufacturing, and how increased manufacturing also means increased participation of women in the workforce. I also have Shagun with me. Young women. What are the aspirations of young women? What do they really expect from an election?
Namaste. I'm Shagun Agarwal from the Young Indians, Kolkata. My expectation from the incoming government revolves around three key areas. The first is rural initiatives. Rural initiatives like construction of roads, providing a clean water to the rural area population, quality education to the children out there, so that people in the rural areas don't have to migrate to the urban cities for a better life. The second is revolving around the campaign of Skill India. And to answer your question, like you said, what are the youth expecting? So the youth is expecting employment, the youth is expecting education. And this campaign that was launched by the government of India in the year 2015 was a fantastic campaign, but it didn't see a lot of implementation because the surveys say that 1 out of 4 people actually got placed. So here are 2 key areas that I would suggest to the government to bring about proper implementation of this scheme. The first is digital literacy. If the same people who are being skilled under this campaign could also be taught how to apply to different jobs on different job portals such as Naukri.com, etc., then they would be landing up in jobs which they are good fit for. And secondly, if the government could push towards creating a pool of qualified teachers who could be teaching, imparting knowledge and education to the youth in a much more practical manner. And the third is safety for women and children. Being a woman and being a mother, the number one priority always is safety and security. One program that we also work in Young Indians is Safe and Unsafe Touch. And if this could be mandated across all the school in the entire country, then that would be a good starting point for the government.
You mentioned very important points and very, key areas where there is need for specific intervention, which you would expect from the government. Richa, young women who want to participate in the economy, participate in the democratic process. A key element of that has also been centered around the Women's Reservation Bill. We saw it being passed earlier. But when it comes to implementation, some political parties, for example, have given a lot of women tickets, but it's still, I think, when it comes to the seat at the table, women are missing.
Hi, I'm Richa Mohta, and I'm an entrepreneur in the logistics and supply chain sector. And I would like to see more women in politics as well as boardrooms. And like you rightly said, that the Women Reservation Bill, although is passed, I'm hoping that the new government is able to successfully implement this bill so that the 33% mandate is actually fulfilled and is not just the writing on paper. When we have more women in power, as well as women in corporates who are in power, kind of be the voice, I can surely say that we will see a lot of change in strict adherences of policies against child labor, sex trafficking, dowry, female infanticide, etc.
I think you're making a very important point by connecting what, if more empowered women means less of all these, evils of society, perhaps, continuing. My last speaker, of course, is Minnie. What would you like to, what are your expectations?
Good evening. I'm Minnie Juneja. I'm the Vice President of the Ladies Study Group, Calcutta. I, as an active citizen eagerly anticipating the upcoming elections, my expectations from the new government are centered around several areas. Firstly, I believe the importance of prioritizing electoral reforms to ensure fair and transparent elections, which is of utmost importance. Additionally, I hope to see concrete steps taken towards climate change, pollution, and sustainable development. Moreover, I urge the government to prioritize the strengthening of healthcare, infrastructure, education systems, and social welfare schemes to uplift the quality of life for all citizens. I'm very hopeful of a positive governance in the coming year. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think all of you have made very important points, very critical points that perhaps governments should listen to and perhaps quickly implement. So we had a voice of women who are very accomplished women, all representing, I beg your pardon, industry bodies, but they've had a variety of demands, and perhaps governments are listening, political parties hopefully are listening.
All right, Saurabh, let's also now talk about, the politics there in Bengal and how the Trinamool Congress has hit out over this 7-phase elections in the state. And, they've said that this is that when it's held in a single phase, you see a better voter turnout. So Trinamool Congress very disappointed.
Yes, that's a completely different topic, and obviously that is going to be a part of the electoral, debate as well, the political debate that's going to continue. Uh, uh, Obviously, this is something that was made clear to the election commission when the election commission was holding conversations with political parties, and the election commission team came to West Bengal as well. But at the same time, the election commission in its wisdom seems to have felt that 7 phases is what is key, given the fact that there have been incidents of violence reported earlier as well when it comes to elections in this state, and therefore perhaps they've decided that they will, of course, have this election in 7 phases, and obviously the Trinamool Congress is not going to be happy about it, because that's something they completely stood against. They wanted it to be held in 1 or 2 phases. The election commission in its wisdom deciding no, not actually acceding to that request of the Trinamool Congress and choosing to hold elections in all 7 phases, which means we have elections, we have voting from the 19th all the way till the last day of voting.
That's right. It's going to be a long election for you, Saurabh. Thanks so much for joining us with those voices and, of course, on the reactions coming in there in Bengal.
And we also have Pratibha. Pratibha is still with the crowd from the IT sector. Pratibha, there is policy and of course there is politics. In the last few years, we've seen Narendra Modi government bring in many IT-related policies. We've had the Data Protection Act, we've had Telecom Act, we had the EV policy come up yesterday. There's a advisory on artificial intelligence. But there is also the Congress government trying to do its bit by bringing in the global capability centers. But the politics has been playing out very differently. You see signboards in Canada, there's a controversy around that. BJP has also doubled down on Hindutva. How is the IT industry viewing this play of policy and politics in Karnataka?
Well, in fact, an interesting question there, and let me directly put that across to the IT professionals here. Well, the question is that you have politics on one side, you have policies on the other. On one hand, you have Prime Minister Modi trying to bring in a lot of policies regarding the startups, regarding artificial intelligence, and like you mentioned, the technology transfer and all that. And we also have the Congress government talking about, bringing in investments into the IT sector, building brand Bengaluru. But on the other, you also have politics, like the Kannada signboards, for instance, or when it comes to, the kind of politics that you witness between the Congress, as well as the bashing that happens between the Congress and the BJP here. How do you see this, and how does that affect the IT sector?
You're absolutely right. Historically, if you look at Karnataka as a state, we have always have this combination of different governments at center and also at state. But as an IT professional, as IT leaders, what we strongly believe is that we should balance this out. Look at this hue and cry about Kannada votes, which is good. But does that affect us as a business? I don't think so. But these are the things which will take us one step backward for the investors. And Bangalore is such a city where we call it as an ultra cosmopolitan city. Most of the decisions are driven by the heads of the corporates, and I'm very keen about it. I have seen even Mr. Modi's government supporting it. People coming down from Delhi, talking to people of Infosys, Cognizant, Wipro. At the same time, even some of the leaders, especially Mr. D.K. Shivkumar and Mr. Priyanka Karge, they are reaching out to people. But here we should look at as a whole system wherein we could balance the people instead of the governments, bring in people and then create that kind of a understanding.
What about you, sir?
So, Karnataka has been a very interesting state in the sense that 11 government changes in 40 years, which was kind of 3.5 years for per government. I personally believe that the Bangalore and Karnataka should be given a chance to have 5-year run for all the political parties, because once you have a consistent people working towards betterment of the Bangalore, you will get infrastructure development, you get all these issues will go away. In terms of the corporates, I personally believe the corporates are very, very uh, with the government, whichever government is at that point of time, they support completely. And they have been agreeing to everything. For example, last year, I believe there was a CEC has gone back to corporate saying that you have to give a holiday in that election day. And the corporates have agreed. So we corporates are basically very attuned to that. But these small issue which happens, it creates a kind of a dissonance, it kinds of disruption in the global mind. That we should not do.
Well, there you have it. Well, all of them looking at a perfect balance between the two, and all of them looking at welfare playing one of the crucial roles as far as the governance is concerned. Back to you.
All right, thanks so much for that, Pratibha, getting us those voices there. And Radhika, now it's going to be rallies and more rallies across the country. But tomorrow there's a big rally by Rahul Gandhi. It's going to be the first big rally of the India bloc. Who all are coming? What do we know?
Certainly, tomorrow is going to be a big day as far as Maharashtra politics is concerned. Rahul Gandhi's rally is set to take place. In fact, in the morning, he will take a walk from Mani Bhavan to August Kranti Maidan and then a rally in Shivaji Park later in the evening. There could be an India bloc meeting also that might take place, but this is the culmination of his Bharat Jodo Nyay Yatra, and there could be a set of meeting taking place. And most importantly, post this India bloc meeting, there will be an MVA meeting that will happen on Monday, and in this particular India bloc rally of sorts that will happen in Shivaji Park, the allies are of course invited. Seat sharing talks have been happening for the last few days, but no consensus yet. There is a possibility Sena and Congress within MVA will be getting about 18 to 20 seats, and NCP are close to about 8 seats, and VBA factor is something that needs to be sorted out. But all of the leaders and representatives from these parties could be a part of this mega India bloc rally, and post which there will be an MVA meeting on Monday, and then perhaps the final list of MVA.
Okay. Thank you, Radhika, for joining us with those details.
Thank you all for joining us from across the country and getting us those voices in a cross-section of voters and, issues that are very key to them.
And it was very heartening to see that youngsters are not really focusing on identity politics. They want better jobs, they want better education, and there is a sense of, civic responsibility. They want cities to be built better. The Mumbaikars are saying that we don't want what's happening in Bengaluru to sort of reflect in Mumbai. So I think I think
that's a worry in all the cities, I suppose, better quality of life there. Well, with that, we'll slip into a short break. On the other side, disappointment in the Kashmir Valley as no elections announced for there. We'll get you some of the voices there. Welcome back. Now, the Election Commission did announce the election dates today, and on the 4th of June is when the counting will take place, but it's going to be quite a hectic next 2 months.
And the CC also said that the poll body is trying its best to fight the menace and misuse of muscle and money power, and also misinformation and violations to the Model Code of Conduct.
Private life ka criticism is what is absolutely avoidable. People should be refraining from giving unverified and misleading advertisements. Please don't try to cross the red line. ये वैसे भी इसलिए जरूरी है that in this digital world, जो भी एक बार मुंह से निकलता है, उसका रिकॉर्ड तो 100 साल तक के लिए पैदा हो गया. वो बार-बार चलता रहता है. So please avoid creating digital memory of bad words which are coming from your mouth. Please be civilized during the election. This is what is our advice. और एक बार जब लड़ाई झगड़ा होता है ना, तो प्रेम का धागा टूट जाता है. और जब प्रेम का धागा टूट गया तो बड़ी मुश्किल होती है. Plumping level, I have already said. We have also asked the political parties to be very, very respectful to the persons with disabilities in their discourse, not to use the abusive words. My appeal to the political parties again. We are very committed for ethical political discourse. I would like parties to again appeal that please maintain decorum in campaigning and refrain from abuses and personal attacks. राजनीतिक दलों को बहुत पर्सनल अटैक से बचना चाहिए. फिर मुझे बदर साहब का एक शेर याद आता है. दुश्मनी जमकर करो लेकिन ये गुंजाइश रहे. दुश्मनी जम के करो लेकिन ये गुंजाइश रहे. जब कभी हम दोस्त हो जाएं तो शर्मिंदा ना हो. और वैसे भी आजकल जल्दी जल्दी दोस्त बनना और जल्दी जल्दी दुश्मन बनने की प्रक्रिया थोड़ी ज्यादा चल रही है. तो पार्टीज कम से कम ऐसा ना गंदा बोलें कि वो एक दूसरे के दुश्मन बन जाएं और फिर कुछ ना हो सके।
Well, the opposition has reacted to this. In fact, Congress party has questioned the prolonged nature of elections in India. And in fact, TMC has sharply criticized the election schedule and said that and questioned why states like Tamil Nadu are going for just one-phase elections, while Bengal will see almost a 7-phase elections.
That's right. And Mallikarjun Kharge, in fact, saying that this means that development in the country will be on a standstill for the next 2 months.
But this is 7. Means nearly all development work will be stopped, and stopping nearly 70-80 days means you imagine how the country will progress, because election code of conduct, people will not move, material will not be supplied, budget will not be spent. So this is a very, according to me, it's not good.
आम आदमी पार्टी इस चुनाव के ऐलान का स्वागत करती है। आम आदमी पार्टी पूरी तरह से तैयार है। इंडिया गठबंधन के साथ मिल करके हम पूरी मजबूती के साथ चुनाव लड़ेंगे और जनता के पास अभी तक अपनी आवाज़ उठाने के सारे दरवाजे बंद कर दिए गए थे। लोग सड़क पर आए, लाठियां चली, कीलें बिछाई गईं, लोग अपनी आवाज़ नहीं उठा सकते थे। मीडिया में अगर आवाज़ उठाते तो आवाज़ बंद कर दी जाती थी। मुझे लगता है कि ये लोकतंत्र का जो पर्व है चुनाव, वो जनता को अपने दिल की आवाज़ को व्यक्त करने का बड़ा माध्यम है और जनता इसमें बदलाव करेगी।
Quite naturally, just like the last time, the Election Commission seems to have announced the dates in a manner where Modi ji can get the maximum mileage to get the party's narrative across the state. It's being held in 7 phases.
So now the Election Commission has also ruled out the possibility of simultaneous elections in Jammu and Kashmir, citing lack of preparedness. While the poll panel has said that there aren't enough forces, the National Conference, J&K National Conference, leaders including Farooq Abdullah have hit out at the centre, saying Jammu and Kashmir wants elections and security preparedness cannot be the reason behind the Election Commission's decision.
सारी एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव मशीनरी ने टुगेदर एक स्वर में कहा कि सर हम एक साथ नहीं करा सकते। हमने पूछा क्यों, तो उनका आंसर था कि जब असेंबली कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी के चुनाव साथ साथ में होंगे तो एक असेंबली में लगभग 10 से 12 कैंडिडेट खड़े होंगे। सो 90 इंटू 12 करीब 1000 कैंडिडेट हो गए और J&K में सिक्योरिटी की वजह से हर कैंडिडेट को कम से कम 2 सेक्शन फोर्स प्रोवाइड करनी पड़ती है। 2 सेक्शन फोर्स का मतलब हो गया कि हमें करीब 1000 के बीच में 450-500 लोगों की कंपनीज की जरूरत और एक्स्ट्रा पड़ेगी। वो इतने बड़े देश में इस समय में सिक्योरिटी रीजंस में प्रोवाइड नहीं था, बट वी स्टैंड कमिटेड कि हम जैसे ही ये चुनाव खत्म होते हैं उसके तुरंत बाद, क्योंकि फोर्सेस की हमारे पास अवेलेबिलिटी हो जाएगी, हम चुनाव जल्दी से जल्दी वहां कराएंगे।
Well, it's disheartening. On one side, the government of India and the Prime Minister himself wanted one nation, one election. 4 states, they are holding state elections as well as parliamentary elections. Why is this state being denied? And every party, whether it's BJP, whether it's other parties, everybody wanted elections. What is the reason? If they say the security is the reason, I don't think so. They're shouting from the top of the mountains that security is fine here. Then how is it that security is all right for parliamentary election and not for the state elections? I think Election Commission should rethink on it. Rethink. And they should rethink, give state the power of holding their election.
All right, and earlier today at that press conference by the Election Commission, NDTV and our colleague Sunil Prabhu, in fact, asked the CEC about that sudden and shocking resignation of Arun Goyal, and we got the first ever comment by the Chief Election Commission on that development.
The others, you said disclose.
in the interest of the general public, and now we can't get from Mr. Arun Goel because he hasn't only cited personal reasons, in the best interest of the Commission, would you be able to disclose what exactly happened? Why did Mr. Arun Goel, who worked with you and sadly is not here today in this entire process, if you can come clean about what exactly happened, what were the differences that led to his sudden and abrupt exit? About my friend you asked. Mr. Arun was a very, very distinguished member of our team, and I thoroughly enjoyed working with him all the time. But in every institution, somebody will have to be given the personal space, and I'm sure the personal space should not be touched and one should not be insensitive to ask personal questions. If he had personal reasons, it's fine, you must respect it. In the commission, let me make it clear to everybody. As you said, disclose, disclose, disclose. We also have another principle, participate. Involve all political parties. So in the commission, we have a very sound tradition, not today, of large, and I must thank this to my predecessors, worthy predecessors. Whatever we are today, it is because of them. And that's one tradition in the commission, that dissent within commission is encouraged.